What is up? What is up, everyone? Welcome to another tutorial, and in this video I want to talk to you about Lambda. Lambda. That's how you spell it. But what is it? Now, I'm guessing that if you programmed Python for any sufficient amount of time, you probably saw these little lambda expressions laying around your program, and you may have even been able to figure out what they are. They kind of act as a function, but first of all, how exactly do you create them, and when would you use them? Well, first let's go ahead and actually make a really simple example using Lambda. So, what Lambda is it's basically a small function that has no name. So here, this is just an example when I'm typing. Whenever you make a function, you define it and you call it like tuna or something. Well, these small functions, these Lambda functions, they don't have any name. And that's because they're just one-time use small functions only. So how do you create one? Type the word Lambda, and then after, you know how you would pass stuff in between those parentheses right here, like you would pass in a variable called x? After the word lambda, that's where you put your variable name or your input. So I'm just going to pass in some simple variable called x, and we'll just perform a simple calculation to it. So we'll say that in this small lambda function, we're just going to pass in a number, and then we're going to multiply it by 7. So this is a syntax for it right here. Your input, colon, and then the expression of what do you want it to do. So again, this is a small, simple function that only takes one parameter, so let's go ahead and use it right now. Now by default, we didn't print anything out, we just calculated it, so we need to throw inside a print function. And of course, this is called answer, so answer, and what number are we going to pass in? We'll just say we'll pass in 5 for right now. So whenever we run this, check it out. It prints out 35. Now obviously what we did is we created a small lambda function, and take note, it's a small, quick, and nameless function. So even though we set equal to a variable right here, the function itself doesn't actually have a name. So that's important to take away. So now that we understand exactly what it is and how we can use them, when would we ever use these things? Well, we could, in this case scenario, just go ahead and make a normal function called like multiply something by 7. But sometimes whenever you're using like other libraries, like Kinter uses this a lot, or tkinter, I know that's how you pronounce it, but you're going to come across code like this. Whenever you make a button, if you didn't watch my Kinter tutorials, this is the basic syntax of how you create it. Now of course you would need to import the Kinter library, but this is just an example. You would set the text of the button something equal to like click me, and then you would obviously want this button to do something, to perform some action. So the built-in attribute for that is command, and you set this equal to a name of a function. However, there are going to be times where you just want custom button functionality, something to just occur specific for this button. So you don't want to build a function, because functions are really built whenever you need to use a bit of code over and over and over again. So instead what you're going to see is something like this. You're going to see lambda, and then of course you type your custom button functionality right here. But what this achieves is you're able to set functionality for this button without having to build a separate function that you're only going to use once. So you can, again, this attribute right here, it requires being set to a function. So that is why whenever you need to pass in a function, you can just use lambda and you'll be good to go. So again, if this is kind of confusing, then watch my Kinter tutorials, and I'll explain in like a practical real world example how you use this. But that is one case scenario of what lambda is, when you would use it. Boom roasted. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.